What's up, everybody? So as you can probably tell, I'm not in my normal studio setup. I'm here in Bilbao, Spain. I was invited by Mido to partake in an event that they're hosting to celebrate 75 years of the Ocean Star collection. I'll also be reviewing their new model, the Ocean Star Tribute, while I'm here. And then also while I'm in town, there's a whole Red Bull cliff diving event that they are a main sponsor of. So let's go explore the city and take a look at this watch. Okay guys, so I think it's important before we look at this particular watch here to get an understanding of where we're at. So we're here in Bilbao, Spain. It's part of the northern region of Spain in a place called the Basque Country, really predominantly known for incredible seafood and also being a hub for design and architecture. And I think that really does marry well into reviewing a watch and then also being definitely a place that was very meticulously picked by Mido and of course the Red Bull diving series for this event. So Mido is obviously a brand that I think is a little bit underappreciated in the United States in comparison to its popularity in Latin America as well as in Asia. But I've always been a fan of just Mido for just delivering a lot of value, and especially in the Ocean Star collection. Unfortunately, a lot of the models were just a little bit too big for my wrist. They know they have models in titanium, ceramic bezels, so a lot of good value. It just, for me, for actually owning one, it became a little bit difficult. Great thing about this watch, and I think now I finally found one that I think could potentially be good for me wearing on the wrist. 40.5 millimeters in its case size, 13 millimeters thick, and also getting a lug-to-lug around 47 millimeters. So in terms of wearability, it's gonna wear very similar to a lot of those vintage inspired pieces. And also if I have to maybe pinpoint it to a model that I have in my collection, perhaps the Rolex Explorer 2. It has very similar dimensions to that. And we're looking at a sports watch with having mass appeal. I think they hit the sweet spot in terms of how this wears on the wrist. And a lot of that 13 millimeters in thickness really comes from this box sapphire crystal. And I think it's really well executed, kind of extending out from the aluminum bezel on this watch and gives it that kind of vintage inspired look and making it very photogenic in pictures. So for wearing this watch, you have a couple different options. It comes with both a Mediterranean blue dial, the one that I decided to go for, and you also have a black option available. On both of them, they come with matching leather fabric straps. So you have a fabric outer layer and then a lining of leather on the inside. But for me, I felt there was a little bit too much color and I decided to just go with this 11 link mesh bracelet. It fits fantastically and also will really allow it to tie to the wrist a little bit tighter. So if you're somebody with a smaller wrist like myself, I think it will definitely be the choice to go for. When you flip the watch over, you actually have two really good features. One is very secure clasp on the backside, 2-button release system, and then underneath that, probably the hidden gem of this piece in terms of the bracelet. One of my favorite aspects of the watch is this 2-button release of this diver extension. But what I was doing it for was really adjusting the fit of my bracelet as maybe my wrist was swelling throughout the day. It's pretty hot here in Bilbao, Spain, so it helped me kind of get a really precise fit throughout the day. And the great thing is you don't have to use tools. So just the 2-button release system makes it very easy to adjust on the go. So as you're turning this watch over, taking a look at that bracelet, you also have a quick view at the screw down case back of the watch. It's a closed case back, nothing really crazy here. You have, of course, the embossed kind of official logo of the Ocean Star collection with that sea star on the back. You also have alluding to the 200 meters of water resistance. So over my shoulder, we have a bridge that was designed by Santiago Calatrava. Calatrava, a name that of course means a lot to us in the watch community. So a nice little cool tie here. But looking at this watch on the dial, we have a unique shade of blue that Mido calls a Mediterranean blue, which is given an extra splash with the use of a lollipop second hand with that equal counterweight. The baton hour hands and the classic printed hour and minute markings around the dial remind me a lot of just mid-century dive watches, with both of these featuring superluminova for help with viewership in the dark. Also on the dial, we have the function of a day-date complication, an underrated complication, and I think works pretty well in this watch despite probably not needing to know the day or date when diving. However, I doubt many of the people even considering this watch would actually be diving with it. But overall, I think there's clearly a lot of ties to the past. It's, I would say, vintage inspired, but unlike a lot of the faux patina almost fabricating kind of wear looks of a lot of just vintage inspired pieces, I think this one does it pretty well without having to just beat you in the face with it. Okay, now obviously we need to take a look at the movement inside here. We're looking at an 80-hour power reserve Mido caliber 80. The movement is based off an ETA C0762, which has a couple additional tricks up its sleeve, but probably the most notable feature, that 80-hour power reserve within this watch. A power reserve that doubles that of the ETA 28242, which is achieved as a result of the reduced beat frequency of 21,600 vibrations per hour compared to the 4 Hz beat rate on many ETA counterparts. So even with all of this though, Mido still really prides themselves on just accuracy and precision. And I think what really tells the story of this is back in 2016, COS, the certification for chronometers in Switzerland, stopped producing or stopped presenting publicly, at least, the amount of chronometers that are being produced by brand. Mido was actually 4th in line for the most chronometers produced out of any brand. So they're right next there with Rolex, Omega, and Breitling for producing the most chronometer movements out of any brands. And looking across the entire Ocean Star line, you see many chronometer certified watches in the catalog. Of course, paying a little bit more of a premium to get them, but still, I think just does tell the story about what Mido really cares about in terms of producing their watches. Okay, so we can't get it twisted. When you're looking at the market for a dive watch, I mean, it's so saturated. There's so many choices out there for a consumer, especially in this $1,000 price tier that this watch is at. But in my time with this watch, I can't deny it. This is a really good value for money dive watch. If you're looking for a Swiss-made watch, sapphire crystal, 200 meters of water resistance, a very comfortable bracelet with a really cool locking system and diver extension that allows for easy, accessible wearing, and then of course that 80-hour power reserve within the watch. You're getting a lot here for the money, and I think this will be on a short list for me in terms of recommendations for somebody that maybe is looking for a dive watch from Switzerland, especially one that has more kind of classic styling and of course classic wear on the wrist with that 40.5 millimeter case and very wearable lug to lug. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's also important for me and just being an indicator, hey, is it worth traveling the world to do more of these style of videos rather than doing some that are just in my studio at home? I enjoy doing these a little bit more, as you probably could tell. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful city. I've really enjoyed my time here, and big thank you to Mido for inviting me. But yeah, leave comments, give thumbs up. That's a great indicator for me that, hey, you guys want to see more of this. So guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, hasta luego, and I'll see you all very soon.